Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Maria Criollo, and I am a student at John Jay College. I am making this video presentation for my Corrections 320 class. I would like to begin by saying that this video is about my research paper and how it relates to corrections, race, ethnicity, class, and gender. As I start my paper, I have chosen to begin researching about women and the problems they face while dealing with drug addiction in correctional facilities. For this topic, my research question will be, what are the issues women face while dealing with drug addiction in correctional facilities? I have found a few articles that shed light on the problems women face while incarcerated. About 7 articles to be exact, and they're all about how women suffer through life-changing traumas throughout their life, and it affects the way that they behave using drugs and crimes that they commit. I think that it is important because I don't know why exactly women do drugs, but this research can show and shed light on drug addiction. Looking at most men, looking that most women have children or significant others, they have to go through many problems. If they don't have a family yet, a lot of women go through a lot of stress because they cannot find the proper job and cannot keep food on the table. Another reason is growing up, a lot of other women also go through abuse that will result in the use of drugs. Because of this, there's only one way to escape, and this is the problem. And it is sad that they turn to drugs in order to relieve their stress. I have divided my paper into sections to better understand the problems women face while in jail and dealing with drug addiction. Some of my subtopics are history of drug addiction, substance abuse, sex trading, trauma exposure, mental health, and the risk of catching HIV. I found it interesting how women drug addiction results is more of a problem than in men. Recent substance abuse research indicates that gender differences affect sound social factors and characteristics, medical consequences, and psychiatric disorders, meaning that some people are crazy and addicted to drugs. Seeing that females are more vulnerable to men, it is seen that women exchange sexual favors in order to pay for drugs. While incarcerated, this is different because in an all women prison, they have to find another way to pay for hidden drugs, increasing the risk of sexually transmitted diseases. Here, there's an option. Women will sometimes find drugs from officers or from their inmates, and not having money, they would have to please them in other favors. A few of the drugs of choice women decide to choose were injectables and non injectables, meaning that they either use syringes, needles, or sometimes they're just pills, including heroin, cocaine powder, crack, and methadone. One of the targeted populations were of Hispanic ethnicity. They are well known for sharing needles, syringes, and cookers with people they were familiar with. This brings us to spreading awareness on the effect HIV can have on women while they are in jail because of sexually transmitted diseases and shared needles. There are not many resources for women to use in these detention centers because addiction to drugs for women have forced them to behave differently, especially in providing sexual favors in exchange for money and drugs. This is a lifetime action that follows women as they are released from jail. AIDS is a deadly disease that happens in jail, especially in sex same partnerships. In one of the articles I am reading, we look at a sample of a study of 100 chosen women in jail inmates. They were interviewed by 2 female psychologists looking to find their measure of trauma, parenting skills, sexual risk behavior, and psychopathy studies found that a major of women had bad lifetime experiences. This study found that 98% of women suffered from a lot of trauma. Second was 74% of drug addiction and alcohol use, which was a big number compared to the studies. And last but not least, mental disorders coming in at 36%. Seeing that all 100 women were still in jail inmates, they have to seek help while they're incarcerated. A lot of jails do not offer these programs for women to help them and avoid going back to the lifestyle that they were in before they were incarcerated. So when they're released, they sometimes go back to their wrongdoings. I feel like this is another problem women face because there are not enough resources in jail. Majority of women are more likely to join programs if they are offered it. Study shows that unless trauma and victimization experience, mental health needs, and functional difficulties are taken into account in program development, incarcerated women are unlikely to benefit optimal from in-house and post-release programs. I would like to shed some light on this topic because a lot of women don't use the resources that are offered, but in some jails, there are not enough resources to be given out to these women, especially in jails where like women look for drugs in exchange for sexual favors. Like there's not enough information going around in the incarcerated facilities for them to get like condoms and all this other information that they need on awareness of diseases that can be possibly transmitted by using needles and having sex with the same people. It's not good. I haven't finished my paper yet, but these were some of the topics I was gonna use so far. But I'm looking forward to have a good ending in this essay because I really like this topic and it's interesting how women just go through so much and they decide to go into committing crimes and doing drugs in order to relieve their stress, knowing that there are other programs available out there. And it is not fair that they have to choose drugs and it'll ruin their lives. You know, it's not fair. But thank you for your time and thank you for understanding. My essay's not finished, and I hope you look forward to reading my paper.